Okay, this video is for you guys online in Music 198. It's going over the basics of Reaper and what you need to know to get your assignment finished by Tuesday. Okay, so I know I covered some of this in class, but I just wanted you to have this video in case you needed it. Okay, so I just launched Reaper 64, that means 64-bit, and it's going to open up Reaper. Okay. The first thing I need to do is remember that if this button pops up, as it will actually, you need to click on this button that says still evaluating. You have 60 days to evaluate this application. So I'm just going to hit still evaluating for 60 days over and over and over every time I want to use it, and it will work, okay? So, and I can save, it's fully functional, it's not a demo, it's everything you'd need for this program. I have to say, if anyone is interested in pro audio and you're on a tight budget, this is an excellent application. For $60. You get the full version for life, which is just dirt cheap. So it's really worth it. All right, so let's get started in Reaper. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that our audio interface is selected, or our audio outputs and inputs are correct, okay? And the easiest way to do that is to go up to Reaper and go to Preferences. Now, if you're on a PC, it's probably a little bit different. I don't know for sure exactly what it looks like, but you can Google search like Reaper Audio Preferences Windows or something, and I guarantee you there's some video that will pop up. So here are all the preferences for Reaper, right? There are lots and lots of them. What I need to choose is under Audio. So under the Audio tab, I'm going to go to Device, and I need to select my audio interface. My audio device for input, or output I mean, is right here. I have a bunch of inputs and outputs. I'm going to choose MacBook Pro speakers, which is going to make my speakers make the sound, which is what I want. If I had headphones plugged in, it may not switch to them automatically, and I may have to switch to them here. Okay, so there are several things you might need to do. It most likely will just work, right? It should just work for you automatically when you use this application, all right? So when I'm done with this, I say, if I had changed this, I would need to hit this apply button over here, okay? And then hit OK, and it will close that window. So now I'm ready to use Reaper. Now, there's lots of different things I can do to get started. One of them is to make some tracks. So just like Logic, there are two types of main tracks we're going to use, all right? A new track is going to default as an audio track, okay? So if you need an audio track, unlike Logic that tells you new audio track, here you're just going to insert a track, okay? If I want a virtual instrument track, I need to choose Insert Virtual Instrument on Track, okay? And it will make a new track and do this. So I can do that. I can also just do this. So I can go to my browser. So as I mentioned in my other video, if I go to freesound.org and I download a track, so I downloaded, for instance, this Thunder here. Now, let me just mention to you guys too, in order to make sure that your audio downloads always work, you really need to stick to just three file formats, okay? A .wav file, a .mp3, or a .aif file. That's it. Don't use an OGG file. Don't use a .flac file, which is called a FLAC. Those will not work, or they might not work in Reaper. I don't know for sure. But when I click on a track, I am going to find it right here. Okay, this is the file type, WAV. This is going to be a .wav file, so this is a perfect file format for Reaper. Okay. So now that I've downloaded it already, which I already did, I'm going to go back to Reaper. I'm going to go to my Downloads folder under the Finder, Downloads, and here's my Thunder. And if I just drag and drop this here, it's going to drop it onto the timeline and create a track called Thunder, okay? And if I hit the space bar, it's going to play it, right? And you can see I have my two, it also creates a channel strip over here. Now, the first one is my master, which is the collection of all the tracks at once. The second one now is called Thunder, and it's the volume controller. Here's my volume control for Thunder. Here's my mute and my solo buttons, okay? I think that's my record enable button. Yep, record monitoring on and off. Here is my panning knob. So if I want to pan something left and right, which is super useful, this is where I'm going to pan the track, okay? If I want to add an effect, okay, there are two places I can do it. Either I can click right here, okay, or no, I'm sorry, that isn't a mistake. Oh yeah, no, it's not. So if I click on that, it's going to pull up this window now, and I can actually go down here to categories, and you can look around here for effects. Now yours will look different than mine because I have other plugins on my computer. But if I, for instance, go down to Reverb and choose Reverb here, add, I now have the reverb installed on this track, okay? Now I can add more. If I click on add again, right? It's going to pop up this, and I could, for instance, go to EQ and add the channel EQ in here, okay? Now I have a channel EQ and a reverb on this track called Thunder. And if I want to, I haven't talked about channel EQ, but I will in class some point. You can play around with what this does. It actually attenuates or emphasizes certain frequencies as you move these lines up and down. There are also presets in here, so you can kind of look around for things that might be useful, or you want to test these out. There's all kinds of stuff in here, okay? So anyway, so I can close this window with the, in the corner, and it's still, my effects are still there. They're just hidden, okay? You can see now the effects button though is green, and it tells me the two effects I have installed here, which is great. And if I want to turn them off, I can actually toggle them on and off with this button on the left, or sorry, on the right, right? So that's going to turn my effects on and off if I want to try them without it, for instance. So now my track sounds a little different because it has a delay and a reverb on top of it, okay? So if I want to add another track, for instance, I can I can click and drag this around. I can move. I want to make another track. I could go up here to insert new track, and then I can drag new audio onto here. If I wanted to copy this, I could do Command C and then paste it down at the bottom. Oops, what just happened here? What I would do is like select a portion of this, and I can do that actually by clicking on this timeline at the top, okay? If I select that, for instance, Command C means I just copied that, and then I can go down here and paste it, okay? Oh, it's pasting the whole thing. Well, that's fine. And I can also resize this like this. So say I only wanted a little bit of something. Another thing I could do is select part of this probably. Let me see if I can do that. How do I select part of this? See, I'm definitely an amateur when it comes to Reaper. How do I select this? I might need a different tool. I'd have to figure it out. You guys should, Google a video about Reaper basics, like editing Reaper basics, okay? I'm sorry, I don't know. I should know, but obviously don't use this program very often. But yeah, I should be able to edit this basically, but I definitely can resize it. So I could go to the end of that. I could go to this end. Oh man. And just grab this and make it smaller, right? So if I wanted to have just a portion of this, I should be able to do that, okay? Oops, I double clicked on it. So anyway, so that's the basics of Reaper, right? If I want to add an instrument track, now, we had some issues yesterday installing an instrument track, but I'm going to just step you through it. So insert virtual instrument on track, okay? And actually what I want to do first, I need to make a new track. So we'll go to track, insert new track, and I'm going to select that track. And there's several things I can do. If I click on the effects button, if I go to instruments, it's going to pull up your list of instruments, okay? Now I have a lot of different instruments on here, and you're gonna have way less. So you're gonna have all of these ones that say Cacos, on the end of it. So I'm going to grab this one. That's a sampler. Actually, let me grab this real synth. Okay, add. So, and you know, try out these. Oh, there aren't any presets. Wow, that's a bummer. You know, but you'll be able to hear this if you create a region. All right. Okay, so what I would do is go up here. What I'm going to do is select an area. I'm on this track. I'm going to go say Insert New MIDI Item. Okay. Now you can see what it's done. It's created this what's called in Logic. It's called a region. I don't know what they call it in Reaper. But if I double click on this, it's going to open the audio editor, okay, or the MIDI editor, sorry. And my synth is really lame here, right? I would need to, if I wanted to play around with this synth, I would click on the FX here, okay? Click on this, and my synth has popped up here. So I could change sawtooth, add some other. So that's kind of cool. You know, I could also then add, let's make this a little bit prettier by adding a reverb, and let's also, sorry, that was a delay. Let me go to a reverb and add a reverb. So listen to this now, listen to my synth now. Actually, my reverb's not working. Let's go to a preset. Sweet reverb. Let's hear this. Okay, so my delay is a little nuts. I might want to turn this down. It's in millisecond length, really long. Turn this down a bunch. Anyway, so now I have a reverb. I have a track that's kind of interesting. Now, my track is clipping. You can see down here, see the plus 5.8. So I might want to turn this down a little bit, it's kind of intense. That's better. So if I want to add notes now, you can see I have the pencil selected, and I can just start clicking on the line, right? And if I want to make a note longer, I can select it. I'm double clicking on the note, on the line. Okay? And that's how I'm entering notes. If I hit rewind, if I go back to the beginning of this track, beginning of my project, let me zoom out here. Take the cursor back to the beginning. Okay, you can see that I can add sounds to here. I can also grab these notes and move them around and edit them. At the volume of the individual sounds is down here at the bottom, and I can change that if I want. Change the velocity, it's called. Okay, so this is how I would add notes into Reaper and add MIDI. So if I wanted to add another MIDI channel, I could do the same, right? Just go up here to track, insert new track, and then click on effects and go to categories, instrument. Okay, now I have this other one that I was able to install, the Torelli N6, and that pulls up this interface, and it has a bunch of presets in here. I thought it did. Man, why aren't these presets popping up? I should have a bunch of presets in here available. Oh, that's right. They're right here on this instrument. So if I click on this, here I can pull up a big group of synths. So I just selected a new one. So once again, I'm going to select this area. I have this track selected. I go to Insert New MIDI Item. I can double click on this to pull up. So, pretty cool synth. So now I can double click to add a note and make it longer or whatever. Okay? So so that's how I would add synthesizers in here and make this work. Okay? So if you have any questions, please send me an email. Your assignment is due Tuesday by 4:20, which is when our class begins. Okay? Again, too, as I mentioned with the other class, please get an early start on this so that you can make sure you have it under control. If you have any questions, you can email me and I can answer. If you email me 5 minutes before class, I'm not going to be able to help you, right? So get an early start on this so that you have a chance to work on it, okay? All right, I will talk to you soon.